Okay, I'm back at you. I just figured out I have this new webcam thing on my computer I didn't know I have, and you can put little stupid things around the outside. So, since it's around Christmas time, I'm getting ready to do weddings this morning, but I have a little time to finish up what I did the other day, and I can center this webcam here. I don't think this webcam on my computer is as probably the sound quality and the picture is probably not as nice as my video that I normally, or my Sony camcorder that I usually use. But anyway, we'll see. I'm going to test it out, see how it looks. So I hope it's rolling. Yes, it looks like it's rolling. Okay. So here's where I left off yesterday. This is again Letter to Misawa, written by Nichiren Daishonin. Okay. I would like to explain further about my teaching, but this letter is already too long. Earlier I mentioned the Zen Nembutsu and precept schools. But of the many schools of Buddhism, the true word is the very teaching that brought ruin upon China and will destroy Japan as well. Not only were 6 priests, the Tripitaka masters Sanwu Wei, Qin Cheng Xie, and I hope I'm saying those right, and Puk and the great teachers Kobo, Jikaku, and Chiso confused as to the relative superiority of the Lotus Sutra and the 3 True Word Sutras, such as the Mahavairoshana. Mahavairoshana. I don't know how to say that word. This is old Indian Sanskrit word, probably. Okay, but the first 3 Tripitaka masters, also made objects of devotion representing the 2 diamond and womb realms, and misled people to believe that these mandalas had originated in India. Being so deceived, the 3 great teachers learned the true word doctrines, brought them to Japan, and spread them about throughout the land to everyone from the ruler on down to the common people. Emperor I can't say this Chinese name, or maybe I could, Shuangsheng of China lost his empire because of the true word doctrines, and Japan is also steadily declining. The retired emperor of Oki, the reason they called him the retired emperor of Oki, he was the first emperor who was exiled out of Japan onto the island of Oki. This is right the time Nichiren was born in 1222, actually. He says he believes he was born at that time because of that, because the country was going into total turmoil. So he was born to bring it back to sanity somewhat. Hasn't got there yet, but his teachings haven't fully spread yet. Okay, that's why I'm here. Okay, retired emperor of Oki, who served as the 82nd emperor, was robbed of his power by the Kamakura government despite great Bodhisattva Hachimen's oath to protect 100 successive rulers. This misfortune was solely the result of prayers offered by eminent priests who followed the 3 great teachers mentioned above on behalf of the imperial court. These prayers rebounded upon the originators. So people of Japan thought if they prayed to Bodhisattva Hachimen, all the first 100 emperors would be protected. And of course, people use this lie. This was a true word lie. True word is one of the sects of Buddhism in Japan. One of the many lies they used during World War II, because they thought even the Buddhist priests that were calling themselves Buddhists of the Pure Land and of the Nichiren Shu, and other very twisted schools of Buddhism in Japan were mixing the Shinto religion with the Buddhist religion, and even claiming the emperors would be protected by the Buddhist deities because they were buying into the lie that somehow Amaterasu, the sun god who stabbed a sword into the ground and pulled it up to make the islands of Japan, was somehow a true story. Um, so where was I? However, it has now turned to the men of the same evil doctrine it once opposed. Therefore, as Japan no longer has a ruler worthy of protection, Brahma, Chakra, the gods of the sun and moon, and the four heavenly kings have reached a decision and ordered a foreign country to threaten Japan. They have also dispatched the votary of the Lotus Sutra as their envoy. The ruler, however, does not heed his warning. So he's saying right here, they dispatched the votary of the Lotus Sutra. So he goes on and says, I don't know who this votary of the Lotus Sutra guy is, but it's funny because I happen to have his teachings, and he's supposed to be here, but I don't know who he is. And then he says, and they even dispatched this guy to warn the leader of Japan, which is the shogun, which he sent to the retired shogun, actually, who he knew was the real leader, not the current shogun at the time. And he says there's not a leader worth protecting in Japan at the time, because the true leader was in exile, or the few emperors were actually three of them. One of them was killed in the same year, the year before Nichiren was born. One of the emperors was killed, and the other two were exiled, which is the first time in the history of Japan that something like this has ever happened. And so that was one of the many disasters predicted in the Lotus Sutra. But the last disaster was foreign invasion. And after he wrote this letter on securing the peace of the land through the propagation of the true teaching, which is in Japanese is Rissho on Kokuron, he warned the government that this was going to happen because it was the final disaster, because every other disaster happened. So he knew it was, if every other disaster that was listed in the sutras happened in this one country, and the only one that hadn't happened is foreign invasion, then if the sutras are right, then this is the next level. So as soon as he did that, he warned them, and now he says it's happening. So he's basically saying that he's the votary of the Lotus Sutra, though he says in the same letter he's not. You got to read what he's actually saying. This is the way Japanese don't want to ever put out their true face in public, because they always have this in the home face and outside the home face. So they'll only tell the person closest to themselves anything about themselves that's good, and everyone outside, oh, I'm a piece of shit, bow down, and yeah, that's just the cult of Japan right now, and it always has been, probably. Okay. On the contrary, he sides with the priests. Okay, once again, I'm going to go back a little bit. Okay. Therefore, as Japan no longer has a ruler worthy of protection. So he's writing right here, the shogun is a piece of shit. And he's not even the real shogun. The shogun's the one in retirement who I sent the letter to, warning. Brahma, Chakra, and the gods of the sun and the moon, and the four heavenly kings have reached a decision and ordered a foreign country to threaten Japan. And this is when the Mongols were invading Japan. They have also dispatched the votary of the Lotus Sutra as their envoy. So the ruler, however, does not heed his words. And who's the his? It's the votary of the Lotus Sutra, who is Nichiren, who wrote the letters to the rulers. On the contrary, he sides with the priests, thus creating chaos in both the secular realm of government and the religious realm of Buddhism. As a result, he has become a formidable enemy of the Lotus Sutra, and as his slander has long continued, this country is on the verge of ruin. Today's epidemic is no less than a harbinger of a great